Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Howard's Horse Handicapping. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. Thank you very much for joining me today. We've got a fantastic show to recap what happened this past Saturday in an amazing day of horse racing at Oaklawn Park and give you a short, quick update on Kentucky Derby news that is going on. Before we do all that, there's a few things I'd like you to do. Please make sure you subscribe right there in the corner of the screen. And after you subscribe, please make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know when our next videos and live streams are coming up, because we have some jam-packed action coming your way with the Kentucky Derby in less than 2 weeks. Also, anything we talk about the show, please make sure you comment down below the video player. Also, you can contact me on my email, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com, which you're going to see on the scroll here below, and my Twitter handle. Please follow me on Twitter at hkravitz for also exciting news and commentary. We have a fantastic lineup for you. The first thing I'd like to do is tell you what's coming up this Thursday. So this Thursday, April 22nd, we're going to take a little break from handicapping, as I mentioned last week, and I'm going to talk about my favorite horses of all time. And it says in the modern era, but it's really in the last 30 or 40 years since I've been watching horse racing. Please send in your top 5 list to hkravitzhorse@gmail.com, and I'm going to read off some of your top 5 lists on Thursday during the show. Of course, I'd also have to have you please join me on the live stream as well, and you can talk about your top 5 picks then. But I'd appreciate if you can send in your top 5 list. Favorite horses of all time. Again, it doesn't have to be the best 5 horses of all time in terms of talent. Maybe you have a story behind one of your horses. Maybe it was the first bet you ever placed that you won with. Or really, again, it could be any reason, sentimental value, whatever. But send me that top 5 list to hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. We have a fantastic show lined up this Thursday to talk about our favorite horses of all time. And then Derby week, next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have live streams every night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. You don't want to miss it. Monday will be the quote-unquote bottom 10 horses based on odds. We're going to go through them in detail. On Tuesday, 27th, we'll talk about the Kentucky Derby horses, the top 10 horses in terms of odds. It's also the Derby post-draw that morning. On Wednesday, it will be Kentucky Oaks Preview Day. We'll talk about all the big races on Friday, including Kentucky Oaks betting strategy and ticket construction with the late pick 5, including ABC and Caveman tickets. And then Thursday, the 29th, we will go in detail about Kentucky Derby Day. Kentucky Derby 147 will, of course, be Saturday, May 1st. We'll talk about all the big races, including the pick 6 tickets with ABC and Caveman ticket construction, and, of course, detailed Kentucky Derby betting strategy. It's going to be a fantastic 2 weeks here on HHH, Howard's Horse Handicapping. You do not want to miss it at all. Hopefully you're going to go ahead and join us on many of those dates. I look forward to seeing you. So let's talk about, first of all, some Kentucky Derby news. As of this broadcast, we have 2 recent horses that are now out of the Kentucky Derby. One, I'm not real happy about. But Concert Tour, Bob Baffert, out of the Derby. They're going to trade him up to the Preakness. It was my only fairly large future bet. This is why I don't spend a lot of money on future bets for the Derby, because you never know what's going to happen, who's going to get hurt. What a crazy ride that Concert Tour was on. First, he was sort of a long shot in the Derby. I bet him when he was 16-1 in, I think, Pool 3. That was before he won the Rebel, but I liked his breeding and whatnot. He draws off, wins the Rebel for fun. All of a sudden, he's like the second choice behind Essential Quality in the future Derby betting. Then he throws a clunker in the Arkansas Derby, and they decide to not even go to the Derby. So it's crazy, but Concert Tour, which takes a lot of speed out of the Derby, is out. Also, Crowded Trade is out of the Derby. So that's two horses that he's also pointing towards the Preakness. That's two horses now out of the Derby. Now there's two other horses that we're still not sure about as of this broadcast. Perhaps when you listen to this, we will know. But I'm broadcasting this on Sunday night. Cattle River for Brad Cox. We do not know yet if Cattle River is going. Again, he is major speed and will definitely affect the early pace of this Kentucky Derby. Whether he goes or not, we are still not sure yet. And Dream Shake, also for Peter Urton, a question mark whether he will go to the Derby or not. If one or two of those do not go to the Derby, the next two horses in line, in order, would be King Fury. King Fury won the Lexington Stakes in his first start in 2021. And I got to be honest, if he sneaks into the Derby and works well, I don't think he's impossible to get in third or fourth in this wide open Kentucky Derby 147. And then just behind him would be Keep Me in Mind, who I'd be totally against, who's just not flashed very good form in his 3-year-old year. But those would be the next two horses that would go. The two horses that are now in the Derby because of defections of Concert Tour and Crowded Trade would be Obesos, a horse I would be very interested in underneath if Cattle River goes and the speed develops. Again, Cattle River, if he's not in, I think it's going to be hard for closers to be a factor in this Derby. And the other horse that is in is Get Her Number. Get Her Number is in a troubled fourth place finish in the Arkansas Derby. He is in the race. So again, there's defections, inclusions, a lot of things going on in the Derby. Please make sure you pay attention to Howard's Horse Handicapping, and we'll give you all the information if you don't hear about it through other media channels. Now, we need to talk about what happened this past Saturday at Oaklawn, and I'll tell you what a very, very interesting day at Oaklawn, and sort of a personal theme for me has been mixed results. I was 4-5 in the pick 5 on the Caveman ticket, on the ABC tickets. I've just been 4-5 a lot lately, to be very honest with you, in the pick 5s. But I have found a way to either make money or break even anyway on the day. In this case, on Saturday, it was because the last race of the day, we absolutely crushed it here on HHH. I hope you cashed in on the second longest shot on the board, who is 19-1. I picked him as one of my top A horses. I hope you had him and cashed out big at the end of the card in Oaklawn. We'll talk about that last race of the day. But they had two major $1 million races for older fillies and mares, and for the boys. We need to talk about both those races. We're going to talk about them in detail. First, let's go ahead and talk about the pick 5 sequence. So the pick 5 started off in the first race. I'm not going to show a lot of replays with the non-stake races, but Stiletto Boy won. I was disappointed. I had the 6 and the 4 who came second and third, as you can see there. I had Cryo and Right Tone here on this channel as my top A's. I wasn't overly blown away with Stiletto Boy last time, but he was able to hang on and win. You should notice WW Crazy, who went off at a crazy price at 48-1. A horse that I mentioned on the show is an interesting long shot. Ran a very good fourth, almost got third. So if you played supers, he would certainly spice up your super there. He's an improving horse, but Chalk won this race, and honestly, that did not make me very happy. And maybe it made you happy, I don't know. But I thought it was a fairly wide open race. And I was hoping to beat the Chalk, but the Chalk won the first leg. Not much you can do about that. Let's go ahead to the second leg, because the second leg was one of the $1 million races. And this was the Oaklawn Handicap. It was for older males. They were going 1.1 miles. And the winner, Silver State. What a fantastic training job and riding by this combination of Santana and Asmussen. They struck with Superstock in the Arkansas Derby, and they strike again in this case with Silver State, a horse that we had as a B horse. So not a disastrous result for our personal handicapping here on HHH, but it was not my top choice. I really didn't love him in this spot, but I just thought he'd get a very good, perfect trip, and that is exactly the trip he got. We're going to go ahead and watch this race. The favorite, by the way, Express Train, who went off at 1.9 to 1, finishes third, as you can see there. Fearless, another horse that I was very interested in, finished second for Irad Ortiz at 2.6 to 1. And Owendale does what Owendale does. Ranged up, looked really scary, could not finish the job, finishes a relatively close fourth. And then Warriors Charge, who set the pace but was getting pace pressure the whole time, faded to fifth. So let's go ahead and watch the replay of this race. And what you want to see, what surprised me here, I'm going to stop the video. What surprised me a little bit here is the number 2 Express Train was really asked hard early. I thought he might just let Warriors Charge go and then come on the outside, which he did, but he was asked early, and they ended up going a very fast first quarter, which really I think hurt the chances of both Express Train and Warriors Charge. You see that number 4, there was a little fractious Warriors Charge in the gate, and Express Train actually outbroke the field along with Warriors Charge, and you can see Express Train is sort of being asked to hold his position, and they went pretty quick. You see over Silver Prospector, who actually I think had a big effect on the race, which we're going to talk about there, in third or fourth on the outside, and Fearless was on the inside in third. So they take the first turn, and you'll see there's the first quarter there in 22 and 3. Pretty quick, very quick first quarter, going 1.1 miles. All horses seem pretty comfortable. I don't think Express Train wanted to be going quite this fast. Fearless is comfortable. The winner, Silver State, is a good 7 lengths back, right there on the rail for Santana, just watching. You see Owendale in between horses, Radar Superstar, and Chess Chief way back. They slow it down a little bit the middle quarter. They go 47 to the half, so they slow it down a little bit, but it's still a very honest pace. And I think the fact that Silver Prospector, the 8 horse, you're going to see here in a minute, who moved a little bit early, at least in my opinion, really affected this race. Because you see they hit the far turn here, and Express Train starts making his move. But right here, I'm going to freeze it right here. Silver Prospector at 15 to 1, the other Asmussen right here, also starts making his move a little bit early, and it forces the hands of Express Train and Warriors Charge. And so these 3 horses, who were really my top 3 horses, you can see in the picture here, all had to move a little bit too early, too soon, because Silver Prospector made his move. So now they're all making this aggressive move here, still quite a ways out there. You see 111 and 3. Silver Prospector actually puts a head in front of Express Train. Looks like a serious threat. And what you're going to see right here is Silver State just angles out with a great trip right there for Santana. They hit the top of the stretch, and you got to give credit to Express Train, who continues the battle on here. So does Warrior Charge. And right here, they're pretty much 6 across the track. And I thought almost anyone could win this race right now, including, there's Owendale coming in the outside, making that menacing move. But does he get here? No. Silver State ends up going by. You see Owendale's also going with him. Fearless on the inside. Warriors Charge and Express Train start fading. But Express Train, actually, I thought ran a very good third. And you see the finish right there. There are 6 horses within 3 lengths. And in general, and this is just generally speaking, when you see 6 horses across the track, or not across the track, but 6 horses right there within 3 lengths, usually that tells you it was not the highest quality or fastest race necessarily. I thought this was a pretty good race. Obviously, congratulations to Silver State. He was a B horse for us. He wins the race. Let's go ahead and look at the buyers there. You see Silver State and Fearless both upped their buyers slightly to 101. So they made a little bit of a jump. Express Train made a little bit of a bump down. Owendale actually ran one of his better races, 98. Still not good enough. Royer's Charge also ran a solid race, 96. So the fact that you have, 3 horses running about 100 buyer, or really 5 horses pretty close to 100 buyer, end up being a pretty solid race. So what do you do with these horses going forward, or what's my general opinion on these horses going forward? First of all, Silver State is not going to get a better trip than he got in the Oaklawn Handicap. I'd be, generally speaking, against Silver State in his next race coming up, depending on where he is. I do not think this is a grade 1 animal, in my opinion, unless he continues to prove. Listen, he's won 5 in a row, I believe. I mean, he's extremely game right now. He's at the top of his game. I just don't think he's a grade 1 animal. He beat some nice horses here, but he got an absolute dream setup and a dream trip. Fearless, who was on the inside, and the inside has not been the place to be at Oaklawn. He got a very good trip. No complaints there. I thought he ran very well. He might be better going a little bit shorter. He won the Gulfstream race last time going a mile. My gut feeling is he's going to be a little bit better going a mile. It'll be interesting to see where Todd Pletcher puts Fearless next. But listen, he picks up a very nice check of about $200,000. Nothing wrong with that for his connections. I thought Express Train might have run one of the better races of anyone in this race because he was up close to the pace. He had to move early. It was his first time shipping. I thought he ran well to finish third. I think he's a nice horse. Again, I think he might be better going a little bit shorter. He didn't quite get the distance going 1.25 miles last time. I think this distance is just fine for him. I think he'd probably best going back out west and dealing with the handicap horses out there. I'm not sure he's going to be good enough to deal with, K-Nix Go and Mystic Guide and some of the other horses, handicap horses out east. But it'll be interesting to see. Express Train is also racing very well, and I think ran an underrated good effort in this race. Owendale, wow, he needs a drop in class. I mean, I'm not going to touch Owendale at all unless he's in a lower class field or just everything seems to set up. He's just a horse that takes money all the time and just does not get there. He's a grade 3 animal, maybe a grade 2 at best, but I think he needs a drop in class. Listen, he makes money. He earns, he catches those checks. He just doesn't win very often. Warrior's Charge, I still don't think is a 1 1/8 horse. I think he is better going 1 mile to 1.16 miles. Again, I'm not sure he's come back to his races from last year. It was mentioned, Marshall Graham mentioned, who's one of the owners of Black Type Thoroughbreds who owns Warrior's Charge, mentioned over the weekend that Warrior's Charge is one of those horses that Brad Cox has some difficulty getting into shape. No fault to Brad Cox. He's just a horse that needs a few races to get into race shape. So perhaps he just needs to get into better race shape. But really, he ran okay. It was a very fast pace against some nice horses. I do think Warrior's Charge would be better with a shorter distance. Let's go ahead and talk about now leg 3 of the sequence. Leg 3 of the sequence, here on HHH, we knocked it out of the park. He was a lone A for me, 7 Nation Army. I singled him on our Caveman pick 5. I singled him as an A on the ABC pick 5. Ran a nice race. You see, let me go back to the chart there. You see he was barely the favorite. Welder took a lot of money, the Oklahoma bred. I thought he would because there were 2 or 3 big scratches where speed scratched out. And on paper, it looked like Welder could get loose. But I give a lot of credit to Irad Ortiz, who kept 7 Nation Army close to Welder. and went by. I was completely against Engage in this race. He was only a C for me, and he ran really not a fantastic third at fairly low odds of 5-2. You see the buyers there. Really nothing special. They all ran high 80s. So it was really nothing spectacular in terms of time. They finished in 1:10-1. Congratulations to Seven Nation Army and IRAD. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the Apple Blossom. So on our Pick 5 ticket, Caveman and ABC, we were still alive at this point. The problem is we were only singled to Swiss Skydiver on my personal tickets or on the show's tickets because two, in my opinion, I wouldn't say unlikely winners, but certainly horses that I knew would take money that I didn't love ended up winning. In Stiletto Boy in the first race, who was a B, who I was trying to beat, and then Silver State, who was a B also, who again I wasn't in love with, but they both won. And I didn't have them as A's mainly because Stiletto Boy, first of all, was the favorite in what I thought was a wide open race. And Silver State, I thought had to get a perfect trip and a few things to work out to win, and all those scenarios occurred. But that's all okay. We got Seven Nation Army home. And then the Apple Blossom. And wow. The Apple Blossom was an unbelievable race. Let me grab some water here. The strange thing enough about the Apple Blossom is it lived up to its billing with respect to the fact that there were two horses ding-donging at the wire in this $1 million race, but everyone, including me, or at least I should say most people, thought it was me, Swiss Skydiver and Monomoy Girl who were in battle, but it was not. Latruska steals the party. We need to talk about this race in detail because there's a very interesting jockey decisions and rides and just strategy. I thought this was a fascinating race. What an unbelievable ride by Irad Ortiz. I cannot give this guy enough credit. I think he's definitely the best turf rider in the country. And if you don't think he's the best dirt rider or the best just rider in general in the country, this race might have convinced it for you, because not only did he get Latruska home and come back against a Hall of Famer in Monomoy Girl, but he also prevented Swiss Skydiver from winning the race. So we're going to talk about it in great detail. I probably watched this race now 5, 6, 7 times. The result for me personally was not what I wanted. I was hoping for Swiss Skydiver to win. Just to let you know, I sent out a survey on Twitter about 2 days before the race, and there were a lot of people responded. I asked who was going to win, Swiss Skydiver, Monomoy Girl, or someone else. And about half the people that I surveyed, that answered the survey, thought Swiss Skydiver was going to win. About 35% of the people, Monomoy Girl, and only about 15% other, pretty much Latruska. So a lot of people, including me, liked Swiss Skydiver in this spot for two reasons. One is the horse classes up to Monomoy Girl and has run just as fast as Monomoy Girl as before. And number two, you knew you're going to get a better price than Monomoy Girl. The shocking story from a betting perspective in this race, at least to me, was Latruska was bet down. Let's go ahead and look at the chart of this race. I'm going to go ahead and slide over to the Apple Blossom, grade 1, $1 million. You can see Latruska, as we all know, was the winner. Bet down to 3.4 to 1. Unbelievable. And she was, I think, like 6 to 1, 5 to 1. Took a ton of money late, which I found to be fascinating. Someone maybe knew something. I don't know. Apparently she looked great in the paddock, etc. But, sorry, a little bit dry mouth here. Boy, was she bet down. Monomoy Girl was about what I thought she'd be. She was 0.7. She was 3 to 5. Swiss Skydiver actually went all the way up to 9 to 5, which, boy, was I surprised. I thought she'd be 6 to 5, 7 to 5. So, again, the money showed there. we're going to go ahead and watch this race because there is a lot to talk about, in my opinion, in this race. So let me go ahead. First, I'm going to put myself back on camera again because I do want to talk a little bit. So on this show, here's what I sort of envisioned in my head. I figured Latruska got the lead, which seemed very obvious, and she did. I was really hoping that Swiss Skydiver would find a way, with Robbie Alvarado, would find a way to get off the rail, which has not been the place to be at this meet at Oaklawn, and sit like in that about 2 wide spot just off the flank of Latruska, and then Monomer Girl would be outside of her. I mentioned on the show that I did not want Swiss Skydiver on the inside stalking behind Latruska and Monomer Girl because 2 reasons. One, the inside part of the track has not usually been the best part of the track, number 1. And number 2, Swiss Skydiver is not as good on the inside. Now, I know she won last time stalking from the inside at San Anita, but those horses are not nearly the class of the horses that she faced in this race. And this race reminded me a little bit for Swiss Skydiver, similar to last year's Kentucky Oaks, where she had sort of a little bit of an uncomfortable inside trip. She's a pretty big animal. I think Swiss Skydiver is much better on the outside. But really, she had a really difficult time getting to the outside. That's exactly what I want to talk about here because Irad and Florent Giroux put on an absolute clinic to me in terms of race riding, and very fair race riding. Nothing egregious whatsoever. Let's take a look at it. So, you're going to see, now before they break, and again, I try not to be too critical of jockeys. I think they have a very difficult job. Robbie Alvarado on the 2 of Swiss Skydiver was put in a very difficult position before the race even began because he was inside the other 2 threats, and he prefers to be, or excuse me, she, the horse, prefers to be on the outside. Now, Robbie Alvarado is an excellent jockey. I should say was an excellent jockey, no disrespect. He's not getting a lot of mounts these days. He's getting up there in age. I don't know how much he has left in the tank. He's ridden fantastically on this horse before. I personally would like to see a younger, better jockey on Swiss Skydiver in general. But to blame Robbie Alvarado for the reason that Swiss Skydiver didn't win this race, I think would be a bit unfair. So Swiss Skydiver outbreaks Latruska. Latruska is the 3, Swiss Skydiver is the 2. Now, right here, clearly, and you see Robbie's sending. Right now, Swiss Skydiver has got a length on Latruska. I would not have minded, to be perfectly honest, if Robbie Alvarado just kept sending Swiss Skydiver and just took the lead. Now, I know Latruska has speed, and maybe that would have burnt out Swiss Skydiver and she would have been nowhere to be found. Comment down below the video player, what do you think, especially if you like Swiss Skydiver? Should Robbie Alvarado just go ahead with it and just take his chances there, or did you like the ride that Swiss Skydiver got on Saturday? Because for me, and this is, by the way, the second time now in a row that Latruska is not broken great, so I don't really know what's going on. She still showed a lot of speed, but she used to be just a complete rocket ship out of the gate, and she's had a little bit of trouble breaking out of the gate the last 2 starts. But right here, when I saw this watching a live, I was saying right now, just go. Go, Alvarado, just go. I realize that might not have been the best move. We'll never know. But I don't like the position that he got in. And this is exactly what I was worried about. So you see Latruska sends up. And actually the fact that Latruska didn't break great, I actually think hurt Swiss Skydiver. So right here, and by the way, look where Irad is, okay? He's nowhere close to the rail. He's in the 2-3 path right there on Latruska. He's no dummy. He's been watching this races. He knows. Meanwhile, Swiss Skydiver is hugging the rail, and Monomer Girl's in the 4 path. Monomer Girl's not tucked in here. She's staying wide. So again, this is the inside. I know some horses won on the inside. Fearless ran a good race on the inside, but didn't win. So I still think the outer paths were the better place to be on this day. And you see here on the turn, right here, right here was the key to the race. And I talked about this on the show, preview show, last week. What I was hoping for, if possible, is Swiss Skydiver to get to the outside. You can see my cursor. And I wanted her about right here at this point. But really, there's nothing Robbie Alvarado could do because Florent Giroux rushes up here and pretty much shuts off that hole and forced Swiss Skydiver to stay on the inside. You can see Robbie Alvarado was looking to the outside. I don't know if you saw that, but there's absolutely no place for her to go. And the horse has just got to stay on the inside. And really right here, I was not overly happy, but Swiss Skydiver does have a hold. You say he went 23-2. That's fast, but it's not crazy fast. Monomoy Girl is in absolutely the perfect spot. All horses really here are very comfortable. Get Rid of What Ails You is in the back along with the other two. Now, here's what I really don't like at all. First of all, right here you can see Irad looking to his right, looking to his outside to see if Monomoy Girl is coming up. And he is clearly, and I don't have a head-on shot, but Irad took Latruska again, still in like the 2.5 path. So there was room here for Swiss Skydiver to come up the inside. Now, Swiss Skydiver has to do one of two things, in my opinion. Either Alvarado's got to say, you know what, I'm just going to go for it and send up hard up the inside, which in general I don't like, but in this situation I wouldn't have minded the aggression. In general, I do not mind jockeys being overly aggressive. I'd rather they be overly aggressive than passive. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up super sensational in the HHH dictionary and see what Declan Carroll did at the fairgrounds with super sensational compared to what Johnny V did with super sensational. If you're fans of this show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So there was a place here for Swiss Skydiver to come up through. I almost would not have minded if Robbie just sent Swiss up hard up the inside and take her chances. But he decided to sit. Okay, not the worst decision. Here's my problem. Now, there's still room. And you're going to see in a second, right there, I don't know if you noticed, Irad just looked to his left to see, and I want to go back a little bit. Watch carefully Irad Ortiz. Make a quick look to his left, right? It's coming up, right there. Do you see that? Do you see this right here? He's looking to see where Swiss Skydiver is. I do not like at all, whether it be Robbie Alvarado, Jose Ortiz, Swiss Skydiver, or a maiden 10 claimer at Mahoning Valley. I do not want a horse half in, half out. What do I mean by half in, half out? The head of Swiss Skydiver is like just really off the butt or flank off of Latruska, and I do not like this position. I want a horse either through or back because all that's going to smell is a steady or a check or something bad to happen. And it was very subtle, but that is exactly what happened to Swiss Skydiver. And I'm not talking about Swiss Skydiver on and on because that was my top pick and because she lost. But I think it's very important. You need to watch these races carefully and to see for next time. Because people might be against Swiss Skydiver next time. Who knows? But I think there's reasons why she didn't run her best race. Anyway, Irad took a look to see and saw that Swiss was sort of content where she was. So Irad actually asked a little bit to put Swiss in a tough spot. And now, again, I don't like this. When I was watching this live, I was shaking my head. I do not like this at all. Again, Swiss is like half in, half out. It's a bad place to be. Meanwhile, Monomoy Girl's just sitting pretty with Giroux. And you're going to see in a minute, Swiss Skydiver has to take back just ever so slightly and check right there. I know, it seems very subtle. Folks, I'm not nitpicking. These are important parts of the race. When you have superstar athletes going this speed and there's not much that separates them, it matters. Again, I'm going to watch that again. Just watch. I'll let it run this time. Irad looks to his left. Again, I think Alvarado was a bit indecisive on Swiss Skydiver. And right there, has to check back a little bit. And now she's lost some momentum. And now look where she is. Now she was, what, a half a length off of Latruska on the inside. And now she's a full length back. So that's, half to 3/4 length and has lost momentum. At this point, I really didn't think Swiss Diver was going to win this race, although I did think that she was going to run better than she did. Monomer Girl comes up in the outside, just cruising. And if you liked Monomer Girl right here, boy, does she look tough. There was an opening here, and Swiss gets through, but really just didn't have the horse. And right here, Monomer Girl sticks her head in front for Giroux. Actually got almost a whole length or maybe 3/4 length in front. Right here, Monomer Girl is, about a half length in front. And if anyone thought Latruska was going to come back and win this race, then you must be a mind reader, because I don't think anyone in the world practically thought that Monomer Girl was going to lose from here as Swiss Skydiver goes back a little bit there on the inside. But watch Irad switches to his left hand and brings Latruska a little bit closer to Monomer Girl, and the horse regains her momentum and comes back. You see he goes left-handed there, brings her to the flank of Monomer Girl, and now they're just neck and neck, nose and nose. Monomer Girl, Latruska, Monomer Girl to Latruska. Latruska wins the Apple Blossom in what probably the most exciting race of the year, I would say, up to this point. You see Swiss Skydiver finishes a well-beaten third by about 4.5, 5 lengths, and there's get rid of what ails you as they finish in 1:43.14 in what was an absolutely spine-tingling, outstanding race. Let's look at the buyers. Latruska runs her best race ever, a 1:02. Monomer Girl runs one of her best races ever, 1:02. If you liked Monomer Girl, I just can't see how you can fault her. She's a champion. You just got to give credit to Latruska. It just, came back on Monomer Girl. Now, Swiss Skydiver went all the way down to a 92. The last time she ran this poorly was in the Breeders' Cup when she got bothered at the start. Then her foot got stepped on, and she was injured in that race. It wasn't a major injury, but she did have a foot issue and a major excuse in this race. When you look back at her, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 previous races, she ran buyers much better than that, all the way up to 1:02. She just came off of 1:01. I thought she was going to take another step forward as a 4-year-old. This race really disappointed me and surprised me at the same time. I will not hesitate. I will say this. I will not hesitate to bet Swiss Skydiver next time. Now, she did not win. I think she had subtle excuses, not great excuses. Listen, she didn't win. I was wrong. I'm a man. I can admit it. These things are going to happen. I'm not the only one that really liked Swiss Skydiver in this race. I don't like the fact that she was inside. I don't like the fact that she got a bit of a hesitant ride, in my opinion. None of that helped. I think she's a fantastic horse. If you want to knock Swiss Skydiver, go ahead. But she won the class. She won a classic last year, beating Authentic in the Preakness. I mean, she ran huge in the Bluegrass against Art Collector, who was going to be one of the Kentucky Derby favorites if he hadn't gotten hurt. I think Swiss Skydiver is a very, very good horse. Not only that, I think she wants to go a little bit longer. But really, you have to give credit to Latruska, who ran an unbelievable race. I ran a fantastic ride. And take nothing away from Monomer Girl. She did not lose this race. Latruska just simply won this race. These 3 gals are absolutely outstanding. And I really hope they meet again sometime before the Breeders' Cup Distaff. I would assume they're all 3 of them are going to hope to go to the Distaff. Connections of Monomer Girl hinted they might face the boys. I really think any of these 3 gals can face the boys in a lot of grade stake races and do just fine. I don't think they can beat Mystic Guide or K-Nix Go or maybe in Charlatan on their best day, or maybe Idol or Express Train. I mean, pick the horse you want, but any of these 3 horses are as good as about any grade 2 or grade 3 male in the country, and I wouldn't mind seeing them go ahead and take a shot in some big races against the males. I always like to see trainers and owners be aggressive in spots and take their chances. But it was a fantastic rendition of the Apple Blossom. Now, let's get on to the last race, which normally I wouldn't talk about very much, but we have to talk about here because as I go ahead and transition back to the PPs, the last race. Now, unfortunately, I was out of the pick 5. I hope you were still alive. I don't know if you were or not, but Ska Mania, one of the A's on this show. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the preview replay from last week, last Thursday. You have to go to about, I actually tweeted it out, but go to about 1 hour and 6 seconds into the video, approximately 1 hour and 6 seconds into the video until about 1:10. I talked about Ska Mania for a while. Ska Mania, the second longest shot on the board, I could not believe it. Went off at 19-1, ends up winning. Ragtag Tag second, another top choice for us. Frills third. I personally had the trifecta. I know a few fans of the show told me they had Ska Mania and they had the Exacta, which paid $104 for a dollar. The Tri was $288 for 50 cents. Congratulations to anyone out there who had Ska Mania. Again, jumped all the way up to a 74, but if you look at this horse had back numbers that absolutely fit. Again, I talked about Ska Mania quite a bit, so please feel free to go watch that replay from the preview video last week on Thursday, I believe episode 28, at about the 1 hour and 6 second mark, as HHH gets another big price home, 19-1. The pick 4 and pick 5 is not on here, so I don't have the results of those in terms of what they paid. Excuse me, the pick 5, no, it just has the pool size. By the way, the pick 5 pool was $725,000, so there was a lot into the pool. There was just no way, personally, I'm going to go ahead and put myself back on camera here. There's really no way that I was going to have Stiletto Boy in the first leg and the horse who won the second race, Silver State, and Latruska on any pick 5 ticket. Those are 3 horses I really didn't either want to win or didn't love. And listen, those things are going to happen. But that's why if you have a strong opinion like I did in the last race where I thought the 9 was very interesting, that you stick around because you never know. And that's been my MO lately, where I go 4 to 5 in the pick 5, but cash a big ticket somewhere in a vertical bet and end up getting out for the day. And so hopefully, again, it was a profitable day for you on Saturday at Oaklawn. So that's going to wrap up the show. I really appreciate you watching, and please make sure that you subscribe. Any comments, any agreements, disagreements? What did you think of my opinions on Swiss Skydiver? Did you like the trip she got? Did she have any excuses or not? Silver State, any general opinions, please comment down below. Also, please at hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. Send me before Thursday, ideally by Wednesday night if you can, your top 5 in order, favorite horses of all time for whatever reason, and I'll be reading some of those out on the show. And then please join me this Thursday night to talk about my personal and your personal favorite horses of all time as we gear up for Kentucky Derby 147, less than 2 weeks away. Thanks everyone for joining the show tonight. Appreciate your support. I look forward to seeing you this Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Take care. Good night.